doing?
I'm really good.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going from high-profile gig to getting to work in indies, and then also big stuff.
Yeah.
Was this always the intention, or this just the way it worked out?
Both. I would mean, if I were lucky enough to be part of a big franchise, it was always the intention to come back and do smaller films. I mean, it's not that it's like smaller films, it's just like films that like fulfill your soul and your like creative, artistic, emotional life, to be pretentious.
But don't they require talking to tennis balls or looking up at things that aren't there?
Yeah, and you actually have a conversation with the person in front of you, and maybe you guys will both be in the scene at the same time, and you don't have to cut to an edit.
I don't know what you're talking about. That is crazy talk. What was it, though, jumping into why I get to talk to you, what was it about this project that said, I have to be a part of this?
There is something, when I read this script, because I didn't know much about Hank Williams. I definitely didn't know anything about his private life. I just knew he passed away really at a really young age. And the relationship between Hank and Audrey and learning that she was someone that pissed off a lot of people and kind of unanimously unliked. I felt so sorry for her. I just felt like she wasn't in the easiest situation. I had a lot of compassion for her, and sometimes you read scripts and you imagine yourself playing the part, at least I do. I imagine myself playing the part, or I read a script and I imagine like this imaginary character, and then I try and place myself into it. And for this, I could imagine myself in her shoes directly. I loved their relationship, their dynamic of everything, the tension being so much love and so fiery that like it was always heated hate or heated love, and it was this up and down that we got to play with, and the dialogue is fun to play as well. And but it was mainly their story that got me excited, and the commentary on celebrity and fame and what happens when you get to the top and nothing's there.
Well, the other thing is you've recently been playing larger-than-life superheroes or different kind of characters. Well, actually, that came out bad, but you've been in these really big movies,
yeah.
And all of a sudden you're making a movie that maybe doesn't have it's like a different experience when you're making a movie like this. So
yeah.
Was it sort of, was it weird to step back and be in like this, you know what I mean?
I think I might have been a little nervous about it, but we had so much time to rehearse and work through things together, and I think that's when I'm better, is when I get to have the time and the space to listen and play. I think some people can be really great technically with those films, and it's like a skill to be honed with something like a Marvel movie or an action film. That's a whole other skill of performance, and I think my strengths are in the dynamic of relationships in that play.
I'm curious how you've now made a number of movies. How has your process changed as a result of having more of a skill set, if you will, doing, and being in front of the camera that much more? Have you refined your rehearsal process? Have you refined how you are as an actor?
Yeah, I think I actually feel more confident in my opinions, and I feel more confident in speaking up about things that maybe I think should be changed, or if something feels uncomfortable, just to say it instead of trying to figure out how can I make it better without telling people I'm uncomfortable, and just really embracing that it's a collaboration. Skill-wise, I just think you learn on every job so much. This film was my favorite experience on a job since I filmed Martha Marcy Mae Marlene. It was that close-knit of a cast and crew. Everyone cared, and everyone was respected, and everyone wanted to make a better film, and we're happy to stay over time, and it was a really special group.
How did, from when you first got the script to what people are seeing on screen, how much changed along the way during production, or,
Not much change from script to the film. We did get to work through certain minute details of language and relationships. There are certain things that we wanted to add, like there's a scene that I guess it's not the clip they released, but there's a scene of when there's a photo of Tom and I singing when we're doing the radio station. And at the beginning of that, there's they have Audrey and Hank are having this little verbal thing of welcoming her to the mic, and she's being a little sassy back to him. And Tom and I heard that on a radio recording that we were listening to, like some clip, and we were like, that's brilliant. Let's just add that in before we end up singing the song. And so that's how that came to be. So only little things like that we would add just because of they're like little jewels when you do all the research and find them.
What was when you're playing and doing research into something like this, was there one or two things that really surprised you to learn about her and about their relationship that you wanted to emphasize or make sure it was in the film besides that one sequence?
Yeah, I actually, because the Country Music Hall of Fame, they just done this big exhibit on Hank, and the family had given everything of Audrey's and Hank's to the Hall of Fame for them to preserve, basically, and keep safe. And so I got to see all these things that have never been released to the public that weren't in the exhibit that they had. And so in the photos, you learn a lot. And they also have like amazing family photos, like through like near shots of him taking a photo of like a stand-up old camera, and they're all in the photo trying to get caught in the mirror for that one take that they get. My favorite things about Audrey during that is she, in all these collages, or photo albums rather, she has all these newspapers of everything she circled and highlighted. And even after their divorce, you can see on the date, she was still circling and highlighting whether or not he was on the top 10 charts, whether or not he was singing it or someone else was singing one of his songs, and she was still managing him in that kind of way. So you learn a lot about someone's character and determination by something like that. And also, almost all of her clothes were monogrammed. She had an A on like every dress, on every top. All of her boots said Audrey on them. So I gotta put that in. I begged the costume designer for one of the last times you see her, or the last time you see her in like a whole cowboy setup, and they're all white on stage. I got my Audrey boots in there. So on the boots it says Audrey, and that says something about someone's confidence or selfishness or weird ego if you're monogramming everything you wear, you know?
100. That actually lets everyone know everything right there.
Yeah, so those kind of things were like little gems.
Before I run out of time with you, I know you recently filmed a sequel of some sort.
Yes, I already apparently said something that was shocking.
Well, I think the problem is, and here's the truth, and maybe you know this about me or you don't. I hate spoilers, and I don't want to run them. I like asking questions that are probing, but only to a certain point.
Right.
It's like, the experience or but not the plot points. I mean, I hate people that reveal the plot points.
I didn't reveal a plot point, though.
Doesn't matter. I mean, whatever you say, you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
What I want to ask you is, I'm hearing through the grapevine that the film turned out very well, and that the script was excellent.
Yes.
And that it was just, everyone is very, very happy with the way this thing turned out.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I really think so, yeah. I was only there for 5 weeks of it, but we were all super stoked about it. It's because I said this when I was in Deauville and they were asking me about it, because even though even though the Ultron robots are so intensely human because of its mind, we're actually dealing with humans this time, through and through, and there's nothing scarier than someone that's like you being dangerous. So I think it's darker and it's fun. It's really fun. It was so hard to shoot, but I think it's going to be a really interesting film. I'm excited to see how they're going to end it, because I want to see what the ending shots look like, because I want to know what the ellipses is at the end of the film, in a way,
100. Well, the thing is that I was blown away by the Russos on Winter Soldier.
Everyone was. That became everyone's favorite in a way.
Oh, it's a tremendous movie because it's a 70s political thriller that happens to star Captain America.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious how they were on this, and you know what I mean? I think the secret to Marvel is that they reinvent. They're constantly pushing the boundaries of what a superhero movie can be.
Yeah.
So is there a reinvention with this one in the same way that it was a 70s political thriller?
Not sure, actually. That's a good question. I never asked those guys that. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I guess I also am curious if your character is a part of the 2 Avengers movies that are coming up.
Those are things I would like to know too. Those are things that I have a group of people with me right now that would like to know that too. So.
That I understand completely.
Yeah.
So my last thing, what's coming up for you after this?
I'm not sure yet. It's kind of that time where either production companies are kind of on pause because they have movies at all these festivals, or it was like Labor Day holiday and people had time off. So everything's kind of at a standstill. I think I'll learn a lot more in the next month about what's coming up next, which is exciting.
Well, I was going to say a lot of movies shoot in the spring and summer, so
Yes.
it's sort of like this is where everything is getting put together.
Yeah, and I would love to do a series. I'd love to do a miniseries so much, and so I'm trying to figure out, there are a couple things I'm really interested in, but they have to go in order for it to be real kind
Sure.
of thing. So there are things I'm really excited about, which is pretty new in a way.
Well, it's also, television has never been better than it is right now.
Yeah.
And some of the quality on FX, on HBO is
Yeah.
just jaw-dropping.
Yeah, so I want to be a part of that, to be able to have the time and the space to make much more complicated stories and people and ensembles
Totally.
and multiple stories interweaving. All that stuff is
I hope you get an 8 or 10 episode show.
that's what I would like, and cut it off at that.
That's the secret. It's an 8 or 10 episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it there and say thank you so much for your time. Congrats
you.
on this. Let me
Thanks.
hit stop.